Welcome to all of you on the great occasion of National Science Day. On the behalf of Social Development Federation, I welcome of all the speakers, our chief guest, Professor Patairiya sir, distinguished speaker, Professor M. Sai Baba sir, and our participants. Now I request to Dr. Anand Kumar kindly deliver the welcome address and introduction of our speakers and chief guest. Please, Dr. Anand Kumar.
Uh, Thank you very much, Bispal Singh sir, and thank you to Social Development Federation to organizing a nice program by using online medium and invited our two eminent speakers on this great occasion, National Science Day. So today I feel honored to introduce to our eminent speakers on this great day, uh, Professor M. Sai Baba. He is an outstanding scientist and formerly director, Resource Management Group, Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, Kalpakkam, and senior professor, Homi Bhabha National Institute. Currently, he has working as a registrar at Ramaiah University of Applied Sciences, Bengaluru. Professor Sai Baba sir has taken over a director of Center for Professional Development and Training, a new initiative of the university. He is also a professor in School of Social Sciences at the university. He is an accomplished researcher, scientific administrator, and institutional builder. He has made significant contribution to implementing several high-impact activities related to the Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research and Development for Atomic Energy. He has also taken a new initiative to communicate the science that is known as the Toon Locks with the combination of cartoons and blocks. It is the first of its kind novel application to reach out to the people, an essential component of the science communication to communicate about the science facts and uh, facets among the people. He has co-authored 64 journal publications, 177 papers in various symposiums, conferences, and 4 confidential reports. He has authored 9 books chapters and proceeding and also edited various edited books. He has delivered over 200 talks in a various topic in various events, various programs. He has chaired several numbers of sessions and panel discussion. Now we will welcome to our eminent speaker, Professor M. Sai Baba. Today's great occasion, I convey my heartfelt welcome on behalf of Social Development Federation to Professor M. Sai Baba sir. Sir, welcome to you on today's program.
Thank you,
Now,
Dr. Anand
our
Kumar.
second speaker, Dr. Manoj Kumar Patairiya sir. Dr. Manoj Kumar Patairiya sir is an accomplished scientist, academician, administrator, and communication professionals of international repute. Dr. Manoj Patairiya sir specialized in bioscience, mass media, management, and policy making. He is known for his extraordinary contributions of establishing 24 into 7 DD Kisan TV channel, 30 centers of science communication, and MSc and PhD courses in different universities in the India and abroad. And also organizing science communication oriented programs in 550 districts. He is decorated and precise and prestigious national and international awards and has large number of publications and 2 Indian patents to his credit. He has authored, edited, and co-edited wide number of books sharing sharing sciences and science meets communications. He has been visiting professor of National University of South Korea and University of Sao Paulo, Brazil. He has served as an outstanding professor, Academy of Scientific and Innovative Research, and now serving as an adjunct professor, National Institute of Advanced Studies, and guiding research. He is a fellow of Society for Information Science and a founding fellow of the Academy of Engineering and Technology of Developing World under aegis of UNESCO. He has elected he was elected as a chair of International ASA Special Committee on SARE. Now today, on behalf of Social Development Federation, I welcome to Dr. Manoj Kumar Patairiya sir. Now, to proceed the program, I hand over to the Mr. Bijpal Singh sir. BP Singh sir. Uh, I think BP Singh sir not audible. So to continue today's this great program, I request my humble request to Dr. Manoj Kumar Patairiya sir to deliver his uh, talk on this great occasion. Sir, please.
I have a presentation, so let me share it.
Yeah, definitely, sir. Please.
हेलो हाँ बाद में प्रोग्राम चल रहा है मैडम ठीक है
It is just uploading. I think it has come.
यस यस सर योर पीपीटी विजिबल
Okay. So, welcome you all, and especially my congratulations to the Social Development Federation. And I am delighted to see our old colleague, Professor M. Sai Babaji, who is gracing this occasion, and wish you all the best and my congratulations on the occasion of National Science Day. Somebody is moving my slides, so please allow me to move my slide on my own.
Yes, yes, sir.
I have prepared this for the topic that you have given, science and technology for society development, especially because my area of interest has been public communication of science and technology. So I will try to connect how public communication of science and technology can really help in development of science and technology for the societal good and societal development and welfare. This first quotation by Dr. Samuel Johnson that says knowledge is of two kinds. We know a subject ourselves, or we know from where we can find information about it. So there are two sub sentences. The first half is very, very important. That is especially meant for the scientists and technologists, those who are the creator of the scientific knowledge as well as those who are custodian of the scientific knowledge. But the second half of the this statement is very important from the point of view of public outreach of science and society, that says, or we know from where we can find information about it. It speaks in volumes. It means that even if you are not the expert of any subject of science and technology, but at the same time, if you have the access, if you know the source, then you can really find that information that is beneficial for the public, that is beneficial for the society. The second half becomes very, very important for public communication of science and technology. So we must really understand that for science communication, if you have the information, that is excellent, that is an advantage. But even if you don't have the information, you must know the access, you must know the source from where you can get the relevant information for the general public good. As we all are aware that we are celebrating today is National Science Day. National Science Day is really meant for especially public awareness of science and technology, at the same time inculcation the spirit of scientific temper. Scientific temper is a kind of attitude and aptitude that enables us to take right kind of decisions at right point of time. As per our guiding principle that was incorporated in 1958 as part of an amendment in the Indian Constitution as one of the fundamental duties, that says it shall be the duty of every citizen of India to develop the scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reform. So, generally, we believe and we feel there is a perception, or we can call misperception, that people who have studied science and technology, so the scientific temper is automatically going to come to them. I think somebody has opened his mic, so please kindly keep your mic mute mode. So even if the people who don't have undergone the scientific training or technological training, they can have the scientific temper. At the same time, those who have studied science and technology, they can be lacking the scientific temper. So scientific temper really has nothing to do with the knowledge of science. Scientific temper is a way of life, the way how you behave, the way how you conduct. It includes that how systematic you are, how analytical you are, how rational you are, and how you are able to take decisions without any bias, without any prejudice, without any pressure, without any greed, without any inclination. So if you are able to do that, it means you are having a scientific temperament. So above all, you have to have an analytical mind. You have to have an ability to minute observation. आपको सुनी सुनाई बातों पर विश्वास नहीं करना चाहिए. हमारे समाज में बहुत सारी समस्याएं सुनी सुनाई बातों को लेकर के होती हैं, अफवाहों को लेकर के होती हैं. तो ये जो अफवाहें हैं, जो सुनी सुनाई बातें, या हमने कुछ सोच लिया और समझ लिया और वैसा मान लिया, तो वो भी सही नहीं होता है. कई बार हम लोगों ने एक किताब निकाली थी, अंग्रेजी में उसका टाइटल था सीइंग इज नॉट ऑलवेज बिलीविंग. जनरली ये माना जाता है कि सीइंग इज बिलीविंग, but we have published a book that says seeing is not always believing. हमेशा देखा हुआ भी सच नहीं होता. हिंदी में उसका टाइटल था सच तो कुछ और है. तो जो ये सच है वो क्या है, वो जानने की कला विज्ञान है. तो विज्ञान कोई वैज्ञानिक या तकनीकी जानकारी नहीं है, बल्कि उसका तरीका है उस तक पहुंचने का, सच्चाई तक पहुंचने का. सो भारत शायद एक इकलौता देश है जिसके कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में ये व्यवस्था की गई है कि हर भारतीय नागरिक में वैज्ञानिक दृष्टिकोण का विकास, मानवीयता और स्पिरिट ऑफ इंक्वायरी, खोजबीन की आदत डालने और इसके बारे में रिफॉर्म्स लाना। तो मुझे लगता है कि जो आपका ये फेडरेशन है, it can really contribute in a big way for inculcation of scientific temper in the society. And humanism is above all, as Mahatma Gandhi ji used to say that behind every machine there is a man. So machine should be machine should be controlled by the man, not the man should be controlled by the machine. And nowadays we are watching number of avenues they are coming up, like artificial intelligence is making inroads, nanotechnology, a number of things. Dr. Sai Baba will tell you number of other avenues, how they are fast changing our society. But at the same time, all these changes, they have to brought in, they have to be controlled by the human being. It is not the machine that should control. Recently, I have just read the news that in a school in Bangalore, I think Dr. Sai Baba must be well aware, in a school in Bangalore, a robot teacher has been hired, a robot teacher has been installed. And with 100% accuracy, this robot teacher is teaching to the children anything, physics, chemistry, all kinds of sciences and technological information, mathematics, solutions it is offering. So this is now we are moving forward in a new world. So the world that there are some rosy picture, at the same time there are some challenges. So how to just have a balance, as Gandhi ji has envisaged long back, that it is the man who should be behind the machine. So this, I think, the scientific temper enables us to take right kind of decision at right point of time. So this is how this is very important. Now coming to scientific aptitude. Aptitude is different from attitude, although there are some overlaps. Attitude is the way how do we conduct, how do we behave, how we are able to address the situations, how we are able to respond to the situation, how to react to the situations. So that comes under the attitude. Now aptitude, it is a kind of skill. So if you have an skill, if you have an inclination, if you have some ability to for exploration, for creation, for gaining knowledge in science and technology, some scientific discoveries, it means you are having a scientific aptitude. So scientific temper, that is attitude, and aptitude, that is really very, very important to have a combination of both of them. I already mentioned it. Now coming to science communication. In fact, science communication is different from different perspectives of different countries. If you look at from the Western countries, for them, science communication has a different connotation. But when it comes to countries like India, developing countries, we have a different kind of definition for science communication. Like our challenges are different. For example, if you go to Western countries or developed countries, the tap water is drinking water. आप नल खोलिए और आपको पीने का साफ पानी मिलेगा, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. लेकिन हमारे यहाँ आपको पता है कि 80% से ज्यादा बीमारियां गंदा पानी पीने के कारण होती हैं. तो ये जो समस्या है, इस तरह की चीजों को हम समाज के कैसे दूर कर पाएंगे, उसके लिए साइंस कम्युनिकेशन क्या कर सकता है, वो हमारी प्रायोरिटीज हैं. बट एट द सेम टाइम आप देखेंगे कि ना तो विज्ञान में और ना ही मीडिया में इसके बारे में बहुत ज्यादा आतुरता दिखाई देती है. क्योंकि मीडिया में हेडलाइंस तभी बनती हैं जब कोई बहुत बड़ा कुछ ब्रेक थ्रो होता है, और साइंस में भी बहुत सारी चीजें तभी होती हैं कोई बड़ा काम कोई होता है. पानी जैसे छोटे विषय पर बहुत कम नजर जाती है. तो ये ध्यान देने की बात है. इसमें आप जैसे संस्थाएं हैं, जो एनजीओज हैं, जो लोकल लेवल पर काम कर रहे हैं, वो इसमें बहुत बड़ा योगदान कर सकते हैं. तो लेट अस गो टू दिस डेफिनेशन दैट वी हैव कॉइन्ड फॉर यू, दैट इज साइंस कम्युनिकेशन इज द की to the real treasure of scientific knowledge, only by which the benefits of science and technology, scientific temper, could be carried to the common man, and thus the common man is benefited with the new advancements in various fields of science and technology, and is able to fight against hunger, diseases, drought, and social evils like superstitions, etc. So this is how we require the way we require science communication. It is altogether different as the way the developed countries require science communication. For them, science communication is just making fun, for some exploration, for some leisurely activity. But for us, it is the point of life, because our life threatening things are happening. So first we have to shape and save the lives of the people. So that is the priority of science communication, especially in the countries like India. I will skip this. This is the communication cycle, how it originates and reaches to the masses. And there are a number of objectives. I will read it out for you. To motivate youngsters to develop an uh, excitement toward science, and to keep up scientific research as a career, to develop journalistic skills to safeguard public interest at large. Let me briefly distinguish between all these: to spread science and technology awareness and inculcate a scientific and technological temper, to develop negotiation and advocacy skills for science activism and forming public opinion, to empower people for informed decision making, to serve as a tool for innovation, research, and scientific advancement, to build bridges between science, media, society, and industry. All have very minute distinctions, because when you call science journalism, so science journalism is slightly different from the communication that you are conveying to the students. Because when a journalist is working on any piece or science communication, he or she has to take care of the public interest. Public interest is not making interesting. Interest means to safeguard their interest. It should not really uh, give one way of a story, one side of a story, like something some laboratory has done very good. So they should not give the goody goody picture. They have to review that. They have to probe the information. Only then they have to give the information. So if journalist is doing so, sometimes scientists are raising their eyebrows. So we need to understand the cultures. A scientist is working for 20 years or 10 years or 5 years or 2 years, but a journalist is working for 20 minutes or hardly for 2 years, 2 months, or sorry, 2 hours, 2 hours. Then he has to write a story in 2 hours, for which the scientist has already spent something like 10 years or 5 years or 15 years. So this is a cultural difference one has to understand. But at the same time, where scientific this sector has a lot of support and funding, whereas the journalists, they have to sell their story in the market, a very competitive market. So both of them have to understand the culture. The scientist must understand the culture of media, and media must understand the culture of science. Only then both of them are important. Both of them are pillars of societal good by through of science and technology. Because scientists, as I said, are the creators and custodians of the knowledge, and the journalists are the carrier of that knowledge to the society, connecting to the society. So this is how both of them have to work in hand. We have a challenging ecosystem. We have 22 regional languages. When we look at from the national scenario, national level, we have to work in all 22 regional languages for science communication, like Tamil, Telugu, Udiya, Kannada, Gujarati, Marathi, Asamiya. सभी में हमें साइंस कम्युनिकेशन करना होता है और करना चाहिए, तभी हम समाज तक पहुंच सकते हैं. अगर हम उत्तर प्रदेश की बात करें, अकेले उत्तर प्रदेश में बहुत सारी भाषाएं हैं. अवधी है, ब्रजभाषा है, बुंदेलखंडी है, भोजपुरी है. तो ये सारी भाषाओं में, उपभाषाओं में, जिसे हम डायलेक्ट्स कहते हैं, उनमें भी विज्ञान के संचार की जरूरत है. इन सभी को देखते हुए हमारे पास बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है और बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी है कि कैसे हम समाज के सभी वर्गों तक पहुंचे. भारत में पहला विज्ञान लेखन, पहला विज्ञान का संचार, आधुनिक विज्ञान का संचार 1818 है. Dates back to 1818 when Digdarshan was published from Sri Rampur in West Bengal. Digdarshan was not, let us not mistaken for naming Digdarshan as the first magazine. Digdarshan never had been the first magazine of science. Digdarshan was an educational magazine that carried some articles of science and technology. So this is why we quote Digdarshan, but not as the first magazine, but as a first magazine, first general magazine, educational magazine that carried the scientific articles. So there is a long history, and there was a problem of scientific terminology, because when we communicate science, because science has its own what we call the terminology and terms and glossary. So we have to have a glossary to explain science, because the jargon, scientific jargon, it is generally repelling for the common man. So we have to give in local language and regional language, the scientific equivalent of that language. For instance, you have mentioned that I have been instrumental in establishing this TV channel, that is Krishi Kisan channel. So when we were in the process, so we found that there are two diseases जो गेहूं में लगती हैं, गेहूं और दूसरे खाद्यान्नों में लगती हैं, रस्ट एंड स्मट। तो उत्तर प्रदेश में भी लगती हैं। तो अगर आप डिक्शनरी देखेंगे हिंदी की, तो उसमें लिखा हुआ है किट और कंड। रस्ट को किट लिखा है शायद, और स्मट को कंड लिखा हुआ है। अब मुझे लगता है, और आप भी सोचेंगे कि जितना आसान और मुश्किल रस्ट और स्मट है, उतना ही आसान और मुश्किल किट और कंड है। तो इसमें कोई बहुत बड़ा योगदान नहीं करेंगे अगर हम किट और कंड लिखेंगे रस्ट और स्मट को हटा करके। बनिस्बत उसके अगर हम लोकल लैंग्वेज, जो हमारे हिंदी स्टेट्स की जो स्थानीय भाषा है, उसको गेरुआ या रतुआ, इस तरह का रोग उनको कहा जाता है। अगर हम रतुआ और गेरुआ कहेंगे तो हमारे किसान भाई बहनों को आसानी से समझ में आ जाएगा। तो हमें देखना पड़ेगा कि हमें किस प्रकार के विज्ञान को वहां के समाज से, वहां की सामाजिक समरसता से जोड़ के अगर हम उसको प्रस्तुत करेंगे तो हमें बहुत ज्यादा फायदा होगा। तो ये काम दिग्दर्शन ने 1818 और जब से वो शुरू हुआ था किया था। डिक्शनरीज भी बनाई गई थी और उसके जो लोग उसमें काम करने वाले थे वो काफी सिद्धहस्त लोग थे, भाषा के संबंध में भी और विषयों के संबंध में भी। उसके बाद विज्ञान परिषद प्रयाग की स्थापना हुई 1913 में, जिसने 1915 से एक विज्ञान नाम की पत्रिका शुरू की, जो अभी 100 साल पूरे कर चुकी है और अभी भी लगातार चल रही है। उड़ीसा विज्ञान समिति ने कुछ किताबें निकाली। केरला शास्त्र साहित्य परिषद ने एक अभियान चलाया जत्था का, जो कालांतर में विज्ञान जत्था के रूप में प्रस्तुत हुआ। मराठी विज्ञान परिषद ने एक पत्रिका, मराठी विज्ञान परिषद पत्रिका निकाली। कर्नाटक राज्य विज्ञान परिषद ने एक पत्रिका निकाली, आज भी निकलती है। पब्लिकेशन एंड इंफॉर्मेशन डायरेक्टरेट, जो आजकल CSIR निस्पर के नाम से जाना जाता है, विज्ञान प्रगति और साइंस रिपोर्टर और साइंस की दुनिया निकालता है। कई अखबारों ने, जैसे हिंदू है, हिंदू ने भी अपना साइंस का कॉलम शुरू किया। हालांकि वो अब 4 पेज से घटकर फिर 2 पेज हुआ और अभी शायद 1 पेज हो गया है। इसको बढ़ाने की जरूरत है। ये विज्ञान जो पत्रिका मैंने बताई इलाहाबाद प्रयागराज से निकलती है, उसका एक विषय सूची का फोटो है। ये विज्ञान प्रगति जो CSIR निस्पर से प्रकाशित होती है, 1951-52 से ये निकल रही है। ये साइंस रिपोर्टर है, मासिक है। और भी जैसे मैंने कहा बहुत सारी चीजें हुई। आगे चल करके ये कारवां आगे बढ़ा और हमने देखा कि किस प्रकार से बहुत सारे कार्यक्रम, एक ईयर ऑफ साइंटिफिक अवेयरनेस मनाया गया था 2004 में। पूरे साल इसकी गतिविधियां आयोजित हुई थी। उससे प्रोत्साहित होकर के हम लोगों ने अपने नेशनल काउंसिल फॉर साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी कम्युनिकेशन, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया के तत्वावधान में, जहां मैं काम करता था करीब 3 दशक तक, वहां हमने ये सारी गतिविधियां आयोजित की विज्ञान के संचार के लिए। मैं ये बताना चाहूंगा कि जब हम साइंस को पब्लिक तक ले जाने की बात करते हैं तो उसको 4-5 तरह से ले जाया जा सकता है। एक तो टेक्निकल कम्युनिकेशन है, जो जनरली एक्सपर्ट्स के लिए होता है। जो एक्सपर्ट्स हैं, एक्सपर्ट टू एक्सपर्ट कम्युनिकेशन, जिसमें रिसर्च पेपर्स होते हैं, रिसर्च नोट्स होते हैं, या थीसिस होती है, पेटेंट के स्पेसिफिकेशंस होते हैं। दूसरे सेमी टेक्निकल कम्युनिकेशन होते हैं, जिसमें कुछ थोड़ा सा भाषा का अंतर होता है टेक्निकल की तुलना में, लेकिन बहुत ज्यादा अंतर नहीं होता है। पब्लिक फिर भी उसको नहीं समझ सकती। पब्लिक के लिए जो कम्युनिकेशन होता है उसको हम पॉपुलर कम्युनिकेशन कहते हैं, और जिसमें जैसे मैंने बताया कि भाषा का बहुत फर्क करना होता है। जैसे मैं बायो साइंस का विद्यार्थी रहा हूं। एक शब्द आता है, शब्द युग्म आता है बायोटेक्नोलॉजी में, सैटेलाइट डीएनए। तो सैटेलाइट डीएनए को अगर हम डिक्शनरी में देखेंगे तो सैटेलाइट का आएगा उपग्रह और डीएनए का डीएनए। कई लोग उसको वंशाणु भी लिखते हैं। तो अगर मैंने उसको उपग्रह डीएनए लिख दिया या आपने लिख दिया तो लोगों को एक कंफ्यूजन होगा, अच्छा ये डीएनए जो उपग्रह में पाया जाता है या डीएनए जो उपग्रह से आया है, पता नहीं, तो कंफ्यूजन हो जाएगा। जबकि जो विज्ञान और खासतौर पर जीव विज्ञान के विद्यार्थी हैं वो जानते हैं कि जो सैटेलाइट डीएनए है वो डीएनए का एक ऐसा टुकड़ा है जो एक जीवधारी के डीएनए को दूसरे जीवधारी के डीएनए में जोड़ने का काम करता है, इसलिए उसको सैटेलाइट डीएनए कहते हैं। तो अगर हम ये कहने की बजाय उसको उपग्रह डीएनए या दूसरा कुछ उपग्रह वंशाणु कहने की बजाय अगर हम उसको कहें ए फ्रेगमेंट ऑफ डीएनए दैट कनेक्ट्स the DNA of one organization to the DNA of another organization, organism. तो अगर हम ऐसे करेंगे, अगर एक जीवधारी के डीएनए से दूसरे जीवधारी के डीएनए को जोड़ने का काम जो करता है, उसको हम सेटेलाइट डीएनए कहते हैं। इस तरह से अगर हम उसको एक्सप्लेन करेंगे तो लोगों को ज्यादा समझ में आएगा। साइंस जर्नलिज्म में पहले बता चुका हूं, दे हैव टू गिव द ईदर साइड, सारी साइड उनको देनी पड़ेंगी। कोई भी डेवलपमेंटल स्टोरी है, जनरली कहा जाता है कि गुड न्यूज इज नो न्यूज फॉर मीडिया, बैड न्यूज इज द न्यूज फॉर मीडिया। लेकिन साइंस में तो बैड न्यूज होती नहीं है, साइंस में गुड न्यूज ही होती है, इसलिए कवरेज भी बहुत कम आता है। आगे मैं बताऊंगा कि कितना कम कवरेज है साइंस के लिए और उसको भी हमें कैसे बढ़ाने की जरूरत है ताकि हम समाज से विज्ञान को जोड़ पाए। साइंस फॉर चिल्ड्रन, जैसे साइंस की स्टोरी है, साइंस फिक्शन है, साइंस पोइट्री है, डॉक्टर साईं बाबा ने साइंस कार्टून का नाम बताया, साइंटून। तो इस तरह की चीजें भी हम लोग उसमें करते हैं और कर सकते हैं ताकि इस विज्ञान को लोकप्रिय बनाया जा सके और समाज के सभी वर्गों तक उसको पहुंचाया जा सके। ये कुछ पॉइंट्स हैं, इनको मैं स्किप करूंगा क्योंकि समय धीरे धीरे बढ़ रहा है। साइंस को हमें एक शुगर कोटेड पिल की तरह पेश करने की जरूरत है। दवाई कड़वी दवा होती है, ऊपर उसको मीठी मीठी परत चढ़ा दी जाती है। ऐसे ही हमें साइंस को पेश करना है, अगर समाज में करना है तभी हम उसको लोगों के लिए लोकप्रिय बना पाएंगे। अगर कड़वी दवाई सीधी दे देंगे तो लोग उसको समझ नहीं पाएंगे और उससे रिपेल होने लगेंगे। ये हमने कई सारे कोर्सेज शुरू किए हैं, जैसे मेरे इंट्रोडक्शन में बताया गया साइंस कम्युनिकेशन के। जब मैं निस्पर में था वहाँ भी हमने एमएससी और पीएचडी इन साइंस कम्युनिकेशन शुरू किया है और कई सारी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में भी हमने साइंस कम्युनिकेशन के कोर्सेज शुरू किए हैं, बाहर भी शुरू कराए हैं। तो ये एक हम लोगों का एंडेवर रहा है कि कैसे हम ट्रेंड मैन पावर, एक सिस्टमेटिकली ट्रेंड मैन पावर साइंस कम्युनिकेशन में डेवलप कर पाएं। डॉक्टर साईं बाबा ने न्यास में काफ़ी इनिशिएटिव्स लिए हैं और जिसमें मुझे भी कई बार भाग लेने का मौका मिला है। ये एक ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम है जो लखनऊ से चलाया जाता है, एक संस्था है वहाँ, इंडियन साइंस कम्युनिकेशन सोसाइटी, उसके माध्यम से हम लोगों ने शुरू किया था। ऑनलाइन कोर्स वो लोग चलाते हैं साइंस कम्युनिकेशन, साइंस जर्नलिज्म पर। ये देखिए डेली इतने हिट्स रोज वहाँ आते हैं, लगभग कम ज़्यादा, ये कुछ दिन पहले का डाटा है तो कम या ज़्यादा, और इंटरनेशनल लेवल पर ये कोर्स काफ़ी पॉपुलर हुआ है। जो साइंस इसमें अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ हैं बहुत सारे जगहों पर, कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर में भी है, सिविल सोसाइटी में भी अपॉर्चुनिटी है। अभी हम लोग G20 का एक वर्टिकल है, C20 सिविल सोसाइटी 20, उसको काम कर रहे हैं। मुझे उसके आउटरीच की एक सेगमेंट की जिम्मेदारी दी गई है और जिसमें हमने कई सारे सोशल ऑर्गेनिजम्स को और ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस को जोड़ा है, तो उनके माध्यम से भी हम ये कर रहे हैं। और आज साइंस डे पर भी बहुत सारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन साइंस पर कार्यक्रम कर रहे हैं। साइंस की जब हम बात करते हैं तो पब्लिक इंक्लूजन, सोशल इंक्लूजन, कॉमन मैन, फार्मर्स, वीमेन, हाउसवाइफ, चिल्ड्रन, स्टूडेंट्स, वर्कर्स, आर्टिजन्स, पॉलिसी मेकर्स, डिसीजन मेकर्स, पॉलिटिशियंस, आर्टिस्ट, सोशल वर्कर्स, ऑल आर इंक्लूडेड। साइंस सभी के लिए है। साइंस केवल वैज्ञानिकों या शोधार्थियों के लिए नहीं है, विज्ञान सभी के लिए है। ये पॉलिसी मेकर्स का, जैसे मैंने कहा, हमें पॉलिसी मेकर्स के साथ भी कम्युनिकेट करना चाहिए। ओनली देन दे कैन टेक द राइट काइंड ऑफ डिसीजन। आपने सुना होगा कि बीटी ब्रिंजल वाला इशू सुना होगा आपने, कि किस प्रकार से मॉरेटोरियम लगाया गया था बीटी ब्रिंजल पर। एक 16 कमेटियों ने उसको अप्रूव कर दिया था। अभी हालांकि वो कमेटियां अंडर वन रूफ हो गई हैं और एक ही समिति उसको कर सकती है, लेकिन उसके बाद ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने उस पर मॉरेटोरियम लगा दिया था। तो ये तभी हुआ था कि जो हमारे पॉलिसी मेकर थे उनमें कन्फ्लिक्ट हो गया था। एक सेगमेंट कुछ और कह रहा था, दूसरा सेगमेंट कुछ और कह रहा था, और सच्चाई ये थी कि जितनी रिसर्च उसके लिए होनी चाहिए थी वो इनएडिक्वेट थी, वो पर्याप्त नहीं थी। तो वी रिक्वायर एडिक्वेट रिसर्च ऑन एनी फील्ड, बिकॉज साइंस डजंट rely on certain statements or certain perceptions or it relies on data. So that data was not adequate for taking decision for introduction of BT brinjal in the country. So that is why it was stopped at that point of time. So such kind of decisions are to be taken by policy makers. So we as scientists and science communicators have to empower them so that they can take the right kind of decisions. This is how we are translating research leading to policy decisions, and these policy decisions are subsequently They are really deciding the fate of the nation and society, national and international level. We have also conducted some research, and we are promoting research in science and technology communication. NIAS is also working. I have already mentioned this scientist journalist conflict raising eyebrows, but there is a common ground, that is scientific temper and science communication. Both of them are the important pillars of science communication. They have to work in harmony, and that harmony needs to be created. These are some of the new initiatives that we have taken. Today, some awards are given for science communication. Today, Honorable Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji in Vigyan Bhavan, there was a huge function where he has delivered a number of awards on science communication for best efforts. One national award for an institution was given to, I think Sai Baba ji must be aware, Karnataka Science and Technology Academy, the 5 lakh award is given to Karnataka Science and Technology Science Academy. So similarly, individuals, media people, scientists, a number of awards are given. So there are a number of opportunities. We also have international cooperation, and these are some of the new initiatives that have been taken. This is a brief diagrammatic representation how science should be for public good, private good, strategic good, and societal good. And we are trying to build bridges between scientists, science, communicators, journalists, and industry, because ultimately anything has to be translated to industry, because once it comes to industrialization, only then the fruits of science and technology can reach to the masses. So this kind of communication, we require communication at all levels, between researcher to communicator, communicator to journalist, journalist to media, media to industry, and directly from communicator to industry. So this is how this circle goes on. And this is a diagrammatic representation of enhancing societal connect of STI, science, technology, innovation ecosystem, with all these elements. And Dr. Sai Baba has mentioned this sign tune, so I have brought it for you. In fact, one of our colleagues from CDRI Lucknow, Dr. Pradeep Srivastava, he has coined this sign tune, and he has made a number of presentations all around the world, and we have been together for on certain occasions. So generally you must have seen, आपने देखा होगा जो कार्टून होता है, कार्टून में एक कैरी कैचर टेढ़ा मेढ़ा चित्र बना होता है, नीचे या बैलून में एक सटायर होता है, कुछ व्यंग लिखा होता है. लेकिन साइंटून में एक हम लोगों ने ये दिया है, एक बॉक्स दिया है यहाँ पर. उस बॉक्स में जो साइंटिफिक इंफॉर्मेशन हम कन्वे करना चाहते हैं वो दी है. जैसे फॉर इंस्टांस दिस साइंटून इज साइंस प्लस कार्टून, like parasitology. What is parasitology? We want to convey to the people at large. So plants or animals which live in or on others and draw nutrients from them for their survival are called parasites. And the study of parasites is known as parasitology. Now look at this, look at this at the bottom, or this caricature. This is an apron. You can easily recognize this is a scientist who is working with some chemicals or some biologicals. Some creatures are there like paramecium, amoeba, or etc., ascaris. So they are talking to each other. What they are talking, you can read it over here. They are saying, see these scientists, they exploit us for writing research papers, getting PhDs, attending seminars, visiting abroad. Still, they call us parasites. So they are saying, really, who is the parasite? So this is how the sciences can be communicated in a lucid manner. The lower part is not visible, I think. You can see it here. No. Anyway, I will take you to another cartoon that is also very interesting. Two ladies you can see. This cartoon is conveying, if you live in any of the metropolitan city of India, the smoke you inhale due to air pollution is equivalent to smoking 10-20 cigarettes a day, which may be hazardous for your health. Now you look at two senior ladies, they are talking to each other. One is furious on other. एक दूसरे पे नाराज हो रही है, वो कह रही है, you cheated me, my daughter will never marry your son, it is okay that he doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, or doesn't take any drugs, but why did you hide this fact that he lives in Delhi? So this is how we can make science more lucid and interesting by way of incorporating science tunes. Dr. Sai Baba will shed more light on his initiative. I will conclude now with this quote by Gautam Buddha, who has said 400 BC. Buddha says, do not believe on whatever you are told or you yourself have imagined it, unless you testify it. Do not believe whatever your teacher says just because you respect him, but believe only after your own examination and analysis. It would be your guiding factor that will never let you down. Buddha further says, even do not believe on whatever I say unless you have tested it with due experimentation, as a goldsmith does for testing of gold by putting it into fire. And this is the essence of the today's scientific temple. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, sir. Very wonderful lecture and very informative. Sir, one question asked by our audience: What to
Yes,
do for
please.
what to do for betterment of the research scholar in India? They required tensions.
Can you please repeat the question?
What to do for the betterment of research scholar in India, especially in area of science communications?
Research scholars, as I said, there are a number of schemes. And the Department of Science and Technology, if you want to look at for funding opportunities, you can look at the website, that is dst.gov.in. And there is another sister department, that is Department of Biotechnology, dbt.gov.in. And now there is yet another organization that has come up recently, not recently, some couple of years back, that is called Science Engineering Research Board, that is SERB. SERB is giving number of scholarships, number of associateships, and number of project supports. So I think if you can look at all these three websites, but if you have some specific interests, like if you have interest in something like medical some subject, then you can go for ICMR website, Indian Council of Medical Research. If you have interest in agricultural sciences, then you can go to the ICAR, Indian Council of Agricultural Research. So there are specific bodies, but UGC also has some provision. CSIR also has. So there are a number of avenues nowadays, and they have increased in the number and quantity and the amount of support. So I think there is a better environment, better ecosystem that is available, that was not available earlier when Dr. Sai Baba and we were struggling in our early days. But now I think if you have the will, you will get some better support. But of course, it is a competitive world, and so as you have to compete with all your peers. So that is the only way how you can get all this support.
Thank you very much. Giving the very wonderful and useful lectures to our audience and development of society through the science communications. And very artist thankful to for accepting our invitation. This is the our wonderful pleasure that you are come on our platform. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, my pleasure. With the permission of especially Dr. Sai Baba, may I take leave because there is still yet another program at 7 p.m. So I have to leave. Thank you. Namaskar. Sai Baba ji, we will meet shortly.
Yeah, we'll look forward to meet you. Yeah, yes, it's a good lecture. Good talk.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Now I request to our next speaker, Professor M. Sai Baba. He is well
Yeah. So
known
now,
personality in the science of area.
yes. So do I do my screen is shared already? I shared in the beginning. Is it working now?
Yes, sir. Working.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. So, um, good evening to all of you. I'm sure that you are all well prepared by listening to Dr. Manoj Patairiya ji. He prepared all the audience about science communication, and it's a special day to celebrate Doyen like Sir C. Raman, and also all the researchers who are toiling in the laboratories to find solutions for the problems the society is facing. And I'm going to talk on science communication for the development of the society and a necessity. That's the topic which I'm going to do. First of all, I also congratulate the society for doing a good job of connecting people about the science communication. What happened? So, how do I access my slides? Hello. Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
So I normally start my talk by acknowledging what Emerson said. Our knowledge is the Emma's thought and experience of innumerable minds. So in that way, I acknowledge that what I talk today is what I gathered by talking to people and the listening to people or reading, and this is accumulated knowledge by received from others. See, today, I don't know, there's some confusion in the slides. They just got mixed up. See, today we want India as a developed nation. And if you want India as a developed nation, we need to have learning, building skill sets, appreciation for ethics, sensitive to all stakeholders, and wealth generation. And for doing this, it is the advances in science and technology that would help. But we need highly motivated and skilled manpower. And more importantly, you need to make the stakeholders aware of the effort that is going. That's where the public awareness becomes important, and that's where science communication becomes important. Now, see, all of us perceive, feel, and arrive at conclusions when information is made available to us. Creativity is in formalizing the thought process either in verbal or written form and communicating them to share and make others understand. That is the purpose of communication. The writing poetry and story writing involves giving form to the thought process and looking at a given situation with a different perspective. That is where the poets and the writers comes into the picture. I'm sure that all of us have seen this picture a number of times. It is those seven blind men looking at the elephant. I'm showing this to say that when information is provided to people, they perceive the information or draw the conclusions based on what they are capable of. And that is the challenge when we talk about science communication. So it is not that what you perceive, what you feel, that may not give you the total complete picture about what you're talking about. So science communication is expression of analysis of the information and arriving at conclusions based on verifiable results obtained either by experimentation or computations. So many a time, learning process is based on tacit knowledge. Most of us learn how to write intuitively and are following the peers in the field. So it's always advantageous if the process of getting trained for science communication is formalized. So that's what I think Manoj also talked about, the need for formalizing the learning process of science communication. Now, why should we talk about writing? Why is it we are talking about writing? Any literate can write, but then why talk about writing if anybody can write? See, the question is anybody can sing, but the question is where are the audience for that? Writing is for communication. Can we get the readers? Writing is a skill. Good writing is an art. More so when it comes to technical writing. There may be those who are born or gifted writers. Others must learn and practice. And this is in a jovially, a writer is the one who spends a lifetime in solitude to write and communicate to others. So effective science communication is, it has to be objective, clear, concise, and convincing. The style should be descriptive and quantitative. It should include details and use facts, data, measurements, and statistics. And they call what we call as a power. You plan, organize, write, edit, and revise. That's how you will become a good science communicator, good communicator. Now we are in a world of Twitter, social media. Our writing skills are becoming terrible by day. I think, you can see these are the type of writings for which people are getting used to it, and we need to address these issues. What are type of communication? Modes of communications. One is talking. The way I'm talking to is a oral communication, or sometimes you write written communication. And there's something called active listening. When you participate in a meeting, you would see some people are paying attention and some people are not. And they say the non-verbal communication is a very important part. It plays an important role. Actions, gestures, facial expressions can be powerful means of transmitting the idea. So we need to pay a very important thing. And this, he said, the most important things in a meeting are not said. And you need to be attentive to communicate, to identify the non-verbal communications. And if you want to get a good, complete picture about the... Well, I think I just pick up an example and say, I'm sure that many of you are science communicating enthusiasts. I don't know whether you find anything wrong with this. One of the America's greatest living mathematician, Bill Thurston, has died. It looks very normal. You would always see in newspapers and other places. I'm sure that it's not an interactive session. Otherwise, you ask the question to find out what is wrong in this statement. The wrong in the statement is, you cannot have a living person. So essentially, you're referring to somebody. So these are all some nuances of communication which I wanted to bring it to knowledge. I'm sure there's another thing which the societies are saying is that even if I tell you that, can I meet you tomorrow, you'll say, can you send a mail? No, this is how we are moving towards the communication. That means we are going to a world where the one-to-one communications are becoming less. And the question is, you can also, some lady is asking, I have to tell something important, I'll send you a mail. Calling somebody and say, I'm going to send a mail. This is the way the communications are changing. So these, I just summarized here, what are the modes of communication? Well, if you are a researcher, you will publish your research in a journal paper or present a report, make some presentations or a poster, or you may have to write a proposal for funding. Where somebody asked a question, how do you get funding? So you need to write a proposal for funding. And each of this has a different way of communication. Public lectures, or press releases, popular articles, newsletters, annual reports. So there are different facets of communication, and each of it has its own challenge, and you need to have more, you have to train. And essentially, it's a perception management we are talking about. Yeah. Now the question is, when you talk about science communication, you have to ask the question, to whom and by whom, by whom and what. If you are a student, it is for learning. So the teaching community will use the science communication or to teach the students for learning. If you are a researcher, you have new inventions, you train to communicate your inventions. If you're working for an industry, you communicate to stakeholders, the society, about the developments. If it's the government, they communicate for welfare. Yeah. And at the center of all these things are people, the policymakers, the peers, teaching community, scientists, government. But at the core of everything is the people for whose sake we are sending this information. A process of integrating communication, decision making is important. And there's something called risk communication, be it nuclear power plants or mining or emerging technologies like artificial intelligence. It is the risk that has to be communicated to the people associated with these technologies. And so you need to learn, how do I do risk communication? So writing, how do you write? I mean, how do you communicate? You want to write on some topic, find the topic, collect the background information, you read, ask questions to the right people, listen carefully, make notes, check facts carefully, and write freely, read aloud, listen to the sounds. When you read about what you've written, you realize, oh, there's something wrong. This is not looking all right. So you need to read loud when you write something. So grammar and punctuation, learn from your mistakes. Is that what is important? I'm sure that I don't know whether there's anything wrong with this let's eat grandma. I'm showing that I'm sure there's something wrong. Very often we use in verbal communication. I don't know whether you find anything wrong with the statement. You don't want to eat grandma, right? You want to eat with grandma. So let's see. So sometimes people say punctuation can save lives. Writing can be difficult. Read indiscriminately and study styles. This is what Professor Balram, the former director of Institute of Science, tells. He was a good science communicator. So now I'll take some 2-3 examples to see how society is growing. You have agriculture, transport, energy, and refrigerator. Just tell about how society and science are connected. I'm sure that there was a time when India was struggling to provide food to its people. We used to import wheat from a lot of countries. Now green revolution has come, and today we adequate food. In fact, we are ready to export food to the other countries. Now what has happened now? We use more and more agriculture, more and more fertilizers. Now suddenly you realize that this is not good, and we go back to the olden time and say organic. So you can see where we are going back in time. While finding solutions, we are in a hurry to find solutions and creating newer problems. Transport, I'm sure that man used to walk. We domesticated animals. Then buses have come, trains have come. What helps is that you can reach the place faster and quicker. But are we able to do it? I'm sure if you're living in a city like Bangalore, or you would realize that how difficult it is to use this transport to reach. In Bangalore, we measure distances not in terms of kilometers, but in terms of time that takes. So what is the robust, viable transport? Maybe you get back to time and say, start walking. And this is the type, what the development that is happening and how we are creating problems for ourselves. I'll take an example of energy. And there's so much of talk about climate change. And you can see the projection says even up to 2040, coal will continue to be an important source of energy, and hence it will continue to pollute the air. And this, what is this? The statistic says the amount of carbon dioxide that has gone into atmosphere in the recent past 50 years or so is enormous, and that is what is going to cause problems to the society. Now we talk about electric vehicles. We are very happy when you move to electric vehicles. They're good. At least they will start local pollution. But if you do not change the mode by which the electricity is produced, you continue to pollute, and you should be aware of this part of it. So ultimately, you have science, technology, and society, and all these sciences have to work towards finding solutions to the problem faced by the society. And a researcher working with me, we had a student working at NIAS. We did an interesting work on science, technology, and conflicts. And what we picked up was in the last 10, 15 years, what are the problems faced by the society because of science and technology? And you can see that we listed here, be it hydropower, we considered an energy component, hydropower projects, nuclear projects, thermal energy, mining, natural gas. You can see the time period which is started to continuation. Even today, their Dibang multipurpose dam and Arunachal Pradesh is still going on. Even 2008 was started here. That means there's a lot of stoppage in terms of there. And as a consequence of that, the construction costs have increased like enormously. Just see how the costs are increasing by a factor of 2 or 3. And what are the reasons for this delay? The non-acceptance of these technologies by the society is the reason for the delay. If you take hydro projects, typically the downstream impact, environmental hazards, rehabilitation issues. But the problem is every time you start a hydro project, you have encountered the same issues. That means we are not able to communicate to the society about what the benefits these projects are bringing, and we are reinventing every time we have. So this research has led to these conclusions, and say it's very important to keep the stakeholders on the table and keep them informed, and so that you don't get delays and also find solutions. And that's where public awareness, science communication all becomes very, very important. So ultimately, you have science, and part of it, you get some ideas in the laboratory, do something, and part of it convert into engineering to create a prototype. And when the prototypes are working, they become real-time products, and that's where the technology develops. But the technology doesn't stop there. You have to continuously work on that. Then that's why you would go back to the science and improve the products. But most important thing is communicating with the stakeholders, get connected them to proactively. Today, what happens is the genetically modified foods, nuclear power plants, or mining, whatever we talk about, what we are trying to do to the people is that we develop something and then go to the people. Then what happens is acceptance can become a problem. That's the reason why the genetically modified foods could not be introduced into this country, because of the opposition that is going to have. So while researchers struggle to find solutions in the laboratories, they don't keep the stakeholders, that is the public, into the confidence, and keep them aware of while the development is happening. Today we talk so much about artificial intelligence, but what does artificial intelligence mean to the people? What does it, how it impacts? This is the type of research which has to be done. We did such research at NIAS, and we took look into what stakeholders, that is the people, think about this artificial intelligence, how it is going to impact their life. So the role of science communicators is to build the bridges between the researchers and the society and the people for whose sake the research is being done. That's why science communication becomes very important, and we need to train people how to become effective science communicators, to reach out to the people and bring them awareness about what good it can make. So science communication for me is not propaganda. Science communication is bringing awareness about the technologies, or put forth the facts about the technology, and the decision making will be that of the people. You're not going to influence the people. That's not the purpose of science communication. Science communication is bringing awareness to the people about the technologies that are being coming, be it technologies or any newer development that is happening here, so that people can take informed decisions. I think very, very important is that I should be aware of the facts and then decide whether I want or not. That decision is to be left to the people, and that's where science communication becomes very important, and we should train people to communicate well. So I think that's where I think we and this is a typical example. I'm sure that the best way to measure whether you're a good science communicator or not is that if you are able to go back to your house and tell about what research you're doing to your grandmother. In this case, this grand old lady is asking when is the bus is going to come, and this great researcher is not able to explain, and she could conclude it. And so it's very important to connect to people who are not scientists, who are not, need not be educated, that you have to communicate so that they understand what it means. Well, this is my last slide. And essentially, I don't know whether how many of you visited Mahabalipuram, and this is a big stone which is there. I'm sure that when you look at this, you get a feeling that maybe it will fall down. It's such a heavy stone, but it's laying there for centuries there. So, but this is what is all about science communication. When you look at things, what you perceive matters. But what is important is you can see these animals, those happily are resting under this big stone, and this lady going around doing her job. So it is the perception is what. So when you look at things, when information is provided to you, you perceive things. So a science communication has a role in terms of giving facts. If I tell you this stone is there for more than 5-6 centuries or centuries it is there, then you will not still believe. So this is why perception plays a role, and communicators have an important role in terms of bringing the facts to the people. So I'll stop here, and I thank you for this opportunity and wish good luck for the society for doing good job of getting connected with people on science communication and welfare. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sai Baba, sir. Really very fantastic sessions delivered by you, and our audience very happy after the listening your session. And it is very great pleasure for our platform. And one question, sir, come from audience.
Yeah.
Saitun.
Yeah, I think. Oh, I was talking about the tune logs. I think people who are interested. I didn't bring a slide on that part. What I do try to do is we combine blogs and cartoons together and call them as tune logs. And those of you who are interested should visit NIAS SciComm site. And there, what I do is I pick up a topic and write on the topic. For example, Science Day, Technology Day, or on very important days of which we observe internationally. Then write a blog and have a cartoon on that, which reflects the theme that is there. So I'm calling as cartoon, tune in the cartoon, and blogs, logs in the blogs. I call them as tune logs, and I think I must have written about 200 of them, and they're available on NIAS SciComm website. If people can type, it's available. I also post them on Facebook and LinkedIn, and I'm sure that if you search them, you'll get it. And yeah, it is a one way of reaching out in a simple language about a different variety of topics which I've done. It all started with my students who are there, and then now we are going. And whenever I find time, I do write on this topic.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I request to Dr. Anand Kumar. Please come and present the vote of thanks. Dr. Anand Kumar. डॉक्टर आनंद कुमार जी, आप मुझे सुन पा रहे हैं? आनंद सर, प्लीज अनम्यूट योरसेल्फ. I think some networking problem. Now I request to say something about the today program, Mr. Sonu Kumar, today journalist. Brief.
आवाज जा रही है सर हमारी?
यस, आ रही है.
सर आपका प्रेजेंटेशन बड़ा बेहतरीन था, बहुत इंफॉर्मेटिव थी. मैं हिंदी पत्रकारिता और जनसंचार का विद्यार्थी था. इस वर्ष ही मैं उत्तीर्ण हुआ हूं और मैं खुद का एक डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म भी चलाता हूं. मैं पटना बिहार से जुड़ा हुआ हूं. सर आज साइंस डे की पहले तो बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं हैं. और सर आज आपका प्रेजेंटेशन मैंने देखा और हमारी तरफ नेटवर्क की समस्याएं हैं, इस वजह से मैं ऑफिस से निकल कर कहीं और ज्वाइन किया हुआ हूँ. तो आज का जानकारी सर बहुत इंफॉर्मेटिव रहा. आपने मुझे जोड़ा, इसके लिए बहुत बहुत सर धन्यवाद.
आनंद कुमार जी, डॉक्टर आनंद जी, एनीवे कोई बात नहीं. On the behalf of Social Development Federation, now I present a special thanks to Professor Sai Baba. He accepted our invitation in during the short period, and it is the very great pleasure. And we know that Professor Sai Baba is a well-known personality in the field of science. He has developed many tools in science and communicate the various topics. and technology for the society development. So that my heartiest thanks to Professor Sai Baba sir. Please accept our invitation in near futures if we require your help. So,
Yeah,
thank you, sir.
I'll be.
And thanks to our participants. They have to listen patiently. And I would like to inform that feedback link will be shared on your registered email ID. Please don't worry. Your your certificate and feedback link will be shared on your registered email ID. Thanks to all of you. Now this program are going to end. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Namaskar, and I will take leave. Yeah.
Namaskar. Thank you, sir.